All right, y'all. I just watched episode 7 of Love is Blind, season 7. Let's talk about it. Also, y'all like my shirt? Well, I'm gonna head out. That's what a lot of these people should have been saying. That's what a lot of these people should have been saying. So we get another wake up segment, and Tim and Alex are absent, obviously, because they are on the rocks right now. Marissa is talking, and one thing she gonna do, mention the Navy. And she just cracked me up. Because again, it's like all these people have a little something that they gonna sprinkle into the conversation at some point, And, we cut back to Tim and Alex. Like I said, when we do see them again, it's real rocky because they left things off on a cliffhanger. And like I said, I think I said this, I don't know when, but a couple of videos ago, I had said, for the time frame and the constraints of this experiment, I don't think they're going to work because they need to learn how to communicate in a way that the other understands. And like I said, it's giving bully romance because Alex is used to pushing her partner and getting a push back. And I feel like that's how she communicates. But Tim sees that as arguments and he does not do those. And so he just shuts down instead and tries to take his space. But I think this is when they mentioned that Tim had packed up all his bags, he was leaving, he didn't need space, he needed to go. And Alex was like, that's why I was trying to stop you. And so again, their communication styles in the pods, it seemed to work, but I don't know if that was more like trauma bonding or what, or bonding over shared hardships, I'll say that. And so now that they have other things to talk about, and now that they're in each other's space, they're navigating how to talk to the other person, and it's not going well. Hannah and Nick seem to try to be getting closer, but the way they talk to each other, still toxic. So I don't want them to make it down the aisle. Point blank, I don't. Again, I keep saying get this man off my screen in terms of Steven. When Monica is talking about how Steven used to write her these poems and he used to be so romantic, and how he mentioned in the pods he was going to get her flowers, and she's looking around. They've been in Cabo for, I don't know, 2 or 3 days, but enough time to where he could have found a little flower shop or something and brought her some, and he has not. And she's looking for a man of action, and right now Steven is only giving her words. And she's trying to say, I'm not completely materialistic, but I would like something. I want a little thoughtful gift because my love language is gift giving. And Steven said, oh, that's not mine. That's not mine. I can't remember the last time I got a Christmas gift. Steven, what? That's unfortunate, but what does that have to do with what Monica said? She said she wants something from her partner. You're not giving her anything. And then, because Monica was like, I'm not asking for a YSL bag. And Steven was like, huh? What is that? And, okay, fair. Maybe I thought everybody knew YSL, but maybe, they're not that big. Maybe they're not as big as Michael Kors or Louis Vuitton or a New York and Company, the other big, a Gucci, the big name brands. And so she was like, okay, well, you at least know LV, right? Louis Vuitton. And he said, is he kind of famous? Is he a big deal? And I said cap, because everybody knows Louis Vuitton. Everybody knows Louis Vuitton. Please, you at least know the symbols LV because you see it everywhere. So the fact, I think in that moment, Steven was trying to mitigate her expectations. I feel like Steven was saying in a roundabout way, he's not interested in getting her expensive things or thoughtful things or anything, because he's going to fall back on the trope that he is broke or something. I don't know. it wasn't giving. And then like he was trying to say that he was like overwhelmed in this process, and now he doesn't know if they're gonna make it to the altar, and so that's why he hasn't been giving her any gifts. And she's like, wait a minute, because he tries to like skip over all of that and continue like rambling, and she's like, no, go back, rewind, because from day one he had been saying how sure he was about Monica and that they are going to make it to the altar because he is so sure and so confident in the relationship. So now all of a sudden, because she has asked for you to back up the words that came out of your own mouth, now you're saying that you are unsure and you don't know, and it's all overwhelming, and this is all such a big decision. What does that have to do with getting the girl some flowers? Nothing. If we're being honest, nothing. That has nothing to do with doing what she asked, because you are still actively participating in the experiment, which means she is still actively your fiance, which means you should be willing to do nice things for your fiance. You know, I could have a whole dissertation on Steven, but we're gonna move on. Because again, I'm gonna say this one little piece and then I'm gonna move on for real. But again, you had no problem writing her a poem, a cute little romantic poem. You can't get the girl some flowers? Okay. I guess we'll stay on. No, we'll go to Hannah. We'll go to Hannah, then we'll go back to that. So then, you know, we cut to Hannah and Nick. And Hannah is another person who I feel like her love language is sarcasm and like banter. You know, like going back and forth with her partner to an extent. You know, she's one of those people who comes off as like someone who's used to being in a relationship where you can like take small digs at each other where it's still jokes, but you kind of toe the line of what's acceptable and what's not. Because I don't like how she talks to Nick. Like Nick gives me the ick, but I still don't like how Hannah talks to that man. I don't. And then we get to, I think it's a scene where Monica and Steven are on the couch of the hotel room and they're talking about something. And doing the do gets brought up. And at first, you know, the conversation is cute. It's very affirming. You know, like they talk about making sure that they keep it like, you know, a safe space and making sure that both parties are comfortable and things like that. And then Steven just goes on this like tangent forever. Like he's talking about like some wild stuff, and I don't know how much I can say since this is on YouTube, but like if you watch the episode, you know, like he was talking about a lot, and I was like, how did we get here? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Like the more he talked, the more I was like, somebody just needs to tap you on the shoulder and be like, that's enough. Like I know those camera people were behind there like, please make it stop. Please make it stop. Because what was he even talking about? What was going on? And then thankfully we cut away from them. And then we end up, you know, we start the process of meeting everybody's parents. Garrett is first. So Garrett and Taylor go and meet Garrett's family, and Garrett's mom brings up some valid concerns. You can tell that she really, you know, loves and cherishes Garrett, because she brings up how, like, you know, she just doesn't want them to rush into this and get hurt and things like that. And like the way she speaks about him, that was cute. That was cute. I do think that they were judging both the mom and the dad, Garrett's parents. I feel like they were judging Taylor's job a little bit when she mentioned that I think she's a clean energy consultant, and the dad was like, well, that is a growing industry. The way he said it was kind of passive aggressive. I was like, a little side-eye, but overall you could tell that they were really just concerned about the well-being of their son, which is fair, understandable. You know, I have not too much to say about that. Because they were real for that. They were real for that. And then guys, we get to our first real argument between, well, not even argument, our first real disagreement between Marissa and Ramses. And guys, it was a doozy. It was a doozy. Because, you know, Marissa has been very vocal about her time in service, about her service time, and that she's proud, as most military people are, of her service. And that was a big part of her life. And like, yes, she's out of it now, but she's never gonna be, she doesn't want to feel ashamed of her time in the military. And Ramses, you know, there are so many ways, you know, one could approach this disagreement, but basically it was a moral disagreement where Ramses doesn't agree with the military as an institution. He doesn't have a problem with the people, but he has a problem with the institution and what they do. And Marissa's like, well, the way, like, you know, they keep going back and forth. And, you know, she lets him know that she's uncomfortable because it feels like he's judging her for her service. And that's not a good feeling when the person that claims to love you is judging you for what you've done in your life. Especially something that's such a big part of her life. She's been in there for years. And so, you know, Ramses is like, you know, if you were, because he looks at it through a moral lens, but I hope I don't get jumped for this. I don't want to get jumped for this, child. But I'm just saying, on a base level, every country has a military, so you know, that's one. I can see both sides. I'm a military kid, so you know, I'm never gonna say anything bad about the people who served in the military, because they did have to make a lot of sacrifices, you know. And Marissa did bring up a good point, that because, you know, Ramses was trying to argue, well, you voluntarily signed up for this, so that's why I'm judging you a little bit. But Marissa brings up a good point, that a lot of these people who sign up for the military are not signing up for like the service per se. They're signing up for the opportunities that come with being in the military. Because let's not pretend like you don't get a lot of doors open for you by going that route. If you are, like, if you can't afford college, the military gives you scholarships. Now you can go to college, you know. And a lot of these people that are doing this are 18. That's not, you are still a baby. You are fresh out of high school, okay? Like, that's not that old, you know. And so you kind of know what you're signing up for, but not really until you really get into that situation, you know. So trying to argue that they signed up voluntarily so they should know what they're getting into, and that's why he has kind of like a bone to pick with people who serve in the military, that's not realistic. Like, he was looking at it from a very like idealistic point of view, and I agree that we should very much so be like critical of what the military is being used for and things like that. But at the end of the day, these are real people's lives, you know. You can't look at real people's lives through an idealistic scope. So I felt a way. I felt a way when Ramses was basically, like, he was doing it in a nice, nasty way, but he was still attacking her, quite honestly, and attacking her values in a sense, and her character in a sense, when they were having that disagreement. And I felt the way about that. I feel like that was my first real kind of glimpse of a yellow flag, because they were able to talk about it, and I feel like the more they talk about it, the more he'll kind of be able to kind of see it from her point of view. So I'm gonna call that a yellow flag. But that kind of that made me side eye him just a little bit. Because again, every nation has a military. Because he, you know, she was saying like, she had said something and he was like, well, why do they need a military? And I was like, God, like, let's not pretend this is just a US problem. Every nation has a military, okay? In the world that we live in the world that we live in on a global stage, everybody has a military because because it makes sense. We like, let's not pretend that we don't all know human nature, okay? That's why I said he was looking at it more of an idealistic point of view and not a realistic / optimistic one. Because yes, it would be nice if nobody needed, you know, military power and things like that, if we were all just peacefully coexisting, but we all know that's not realistic. But that is all I have for you guys today. That was episode 7. Child, again, the more we see these people, the more I'm like, love is not blind, because we're not making it down this altar. It's not. But I will see y'all in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye guys.